What did American taxpayers get for their multi-billion-dollar black budget investment? That was what was going on here. It was a lot of dirty shenanigans. This is Danbury, Connecticut, night siege, page 47. I saw 5 planes flying together in formation around this field. They were trying to pull a hoax. I stopped at the rest area, got out of my car, and sat at a picnic bench to watch them. They would all turn their lights on at once from red to white. Those were the only lights they had. They were flying all around this valley. The first object I saw was definitely wasn't a plane. So you could see there were people who saw both the planes and the actual aircraft, and there was no comparison whatsoever. So what would you try to do if you were hoaxing one of these flights? If you wanted to divert people's attention, you'd fly in this formation. But we can tell right away that you'd never be able to have rock-solid precision. Why? Because if you're making a left turn, the planes on the inside have to slow down to keep position. The planes on the right have to speed up, and it gets even more difficult. Now, how do you hover? Because people in the Taconic State Parkway said that this thing was hovering. The only way to do that is the planes on the left have to fly backwards, so they'd stall and fly out of the sky, or just completely drop out of the sky. The planes on the right have to speed up, and you can just see it's absurd. This is not the same aircraft that the people actually saw. What they saw is something that looked like this. This is the lighting pattern on this thing. And when this rotated on a pinwheel or on a flat table, all of the lights remained in concrete precision. There was no diversionary whatsoever. They were completely intact. They stayed within each other here. Now, we've got a very good report from Linda Zimmerman. This is Danbury boat launch, 1983. A group of these ultralight pilots were flying over the boat launch. They were faking one of these sightings. They were trying to get people's attention away from the actual aircraft. And guess what? There was a fire truck right as they were flying over. This is Danbury boat launch at night, and these guys had a spotlight, and they caught these ultralight pilots right in the act. And when they shone their spotlights up, these guys peeled away, so they knew they were caught, and they just completely flew away. But this is one instance, a very rare instance, where they were caught in the act. This is by Linda Zimmerman. Reference for that one. So, according to Abraham Lincoln, you may fool all of the people some of the time. You can even fool some of the people all of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time, from Abraham Lincoln. Bottom line is, we're not going to be fooled anymore. We know what they were trying to pull during the Hudson Valley Wave. We know they were trying to fake the actual aircraft with other aircraft off to the side. November 20th, 1956, Danielson, Connecticut, 25 foot across. This is a good case. Primary eyewitness was just checking on some laundry here. She saw a 25-foot, you could call it half hemispherical beach ball. But what's interesting, on the bottom of it, it had these sockets. Each socket was connected to a multicolored light. Each light had 3 donuts on them. I'm going to blow this up for you. Now you can see these donuts are coming into view. Between each donut ring, there was a black band. And I want to talk about what actually happened here. This is a blow-up of what these donuts look and the black bands. Now, this thing flew right over her house, kind of at a 45-degree angle, almost clipped the top of their house and almost damaged the property there. And we'll go to her sketch. This is her actual hand drawing. She did a fantastic job. She described this case in great detail. These lights were revolving. It looked like a flying vanity light. This is exactly what this craft looked like. But what I want to bring your attention to are these very interesting inscriptions on the bottom of these donuts. Each socket had these 3 donuts, and on the reverse side of these donuts were these very interesting, and I'm going to go over here and just read this one-to-one here. Resembled an ancient Arabic language, also looked like the border of a Renaissance Oriental rug, something that looked like Mayan or Incan pottery. That's the inscription that was written on the bottom of this craft. This is back in Danielson, Connecticut, 1956. Next one, this is a chiropractor, Canada, 1970. He was riding a horse, and out of this cloud comes this 40-foot diameter disc-shaped craft. It had a blue coronal discharge wrapped around the outer circumference of the craft. He almost got knocked off the horse. The horse started going crazy. But I want to go to the next drawing here. This shows you the venting that was on the bottom. It had these grating millwork, vent work, and these were rotating counterclockwise. So another telltale sign that this is one of ours. This is not an ET craft. October 9th, 1972, Long Island, New York, Smithtown. Primary eyewitness was driving with his wife down the road. She saw it first before he did. Pulled off to the side of the road. He stayed in the car. The wife got out to the oncoming traffic lane. She looked up and saw a flying iron there. Very interesting flying iron. It had elongated lights on the bottom section of the aircraft. There was a red light on the left. There was a green light on the right. But what's interesting is at the back end of this flying iron, there were two posts that went up vertically. At the top of the post, there was a wire going across the top of it. Here's the article from it. This is from UFO Investigator, February 1973. Flyover reported from Long Island. You can see these posts with the wire here. This is the original sketch from the primary eyewitness. Doesn't look like an ET spacecraft. This looks to be one of these original prototypes during the early 1970s. Chicago O'Hare. This is April, May 2001. Interviewed this guy twice, met him in person, talked to him on the phone. We got a real good description of what this looked like. It had rained the night before. The tarmac was wet. There were 5 eyewitnesses that saw this. This is at the Ozark hangar at O'Hare Airport, Chicago. All of a sudden, this craft comes at a very low rate of speed. Now, in this illustration, it looks more like a cigar-shaped craft. The actual craft was a saucer-shaped craft. It had 12 vertically mounted slits that were inlet from the back. The forward section had a bubble transparent canopies. Now, if we go to the back side of this view, it had these octopus tentacles they appeared to be living, and at each end of these octopus tentacles, there was about a 10-inch diameter sphere, almost identical to what Eddie Laxon had seen back on March 23rd, 1966. This is his original drawing, first pass original drawing of what this craft looked like. You can see these octopus tentacles. On the bottom, it had 2 additional prongs, and they had spheres at the end of those as well. So we can see this is going through all of these cases. These prongs, protrusions are sticking out of these craft. This is the top view looking down, and now you can get a real good look at what these octopus tentacles actually look like. Airborne holographic projector. This is from Air Force Report 2025. So this is kind of like what would they like to see in the year 2025? This is their wish list of what they'd like to see technology going on in the year 2025, a couple of years from now. This is 5.6, their own documentation. The holographic projector displays a 3-dimensional visual image in a desired location removed from the display generator. The projector can be used for psychological operations and strategic perception management. It is also useful for optical deception and cloaking, providing a momentary distraction when engaging an unsophisticated adversary. Wow, that's some interesting speak. So you could have a F-117 at one location, and using this airborne holographic projector, you could put another F-117 a mile away. People would not know it from the actual aircraft. That's how good they can do this here.